I woke to the sound of wood exploding at 3 in the morning, the kind of splintering crack that tears you out of a dream and drops you into a nightmare. I bolted outside barefoot, shotgun still locked in the cabinet, only to find 3 figures with sledgehammers lit by the white beam of headlamps. My fence, 6 months of sweat, turquoise and orange paint in my grandfather's racing colors, hand-carved horses that felt like holding history in my hands, was coming down piece by piece. The president of our HOA, Vivian Blackwood, smirked at me in the beam of her lamp. "Your fence violates aesthetics," she said, like a judge pronouncing sentence. That was her fatal mistake. She thought I was just another rancher hanging on by a thread with a pregnant wife, a failing cattle business, and nothing left to lose. But when you strip a man down that far, you leave him dangerous. I'm Wade Thornton, 52 years old, third-generation rancher. This land has been in my family since Grandpa Joe built his first barn out of dust and stubbornness. Sarah and I had nearly given up on children until she surprised me at 38 with a miracle pregnancy. That fence was more than wood and paint. It was hope. It was legacy. And in one night, they smashed it into kindling. At first, I thought it was just power games. Vivian, a Dallas lawyer who'd blown in 2 years earlier with a Mercedes and a superiority complex, loved dictating how everyone else should live. But when she slapped me with fines, $500 a day, retroactive, I started digging. In the courthouse, under buzzing fluorescent lights, I found her covenant wasn't even valid. Missing signatures, worthless as Confederate money. Worse, I uncovered property transfers that smelled rotten. Families hit with sudden violations, then foreclosure notices from Marcus Blackwood's bank, Vivian's husband. Properties bought dirt cheap through shell companies, flipped for a profit. The pattern was clear. She wasn't enforcing rules. She was running a scam, and if I didn't fight, Sarah and I could lose everything. The pressure came fast. Cease and desist letters, thick enough to choke a horse. Neighbors suddenly cold, some bribed into silence. My best friend Jake even betrayed me, signing the first complaint in exchange for his son's internship at Vivian's law firm. I'd seen betrayal before. In war, in business. But nothing stung like watching a man I'd drunk beers with for 8 years sell out my family's future. Then came the sabotage. My cattle gate cut, steers wandering the highway in the dark, nearly causing a pileup, irrigation lines punctured in a dozen places, blood-red graffiti scrawled across my barn like a threat. And one afternoon, 4 tires on my truck sliced to ribbons in broad daylight. Sarah broke down in the kitchen, her tears falling harder than the rain outside. "What if they hurt our baby?" she whispered. I wanted to tell her everything would be fine. But the truth was, we were at war. One sleepless night, I traced property filings until I found the heart of Vivian's scheme. She'd been planning a luxury development, Blackwood Estates, golf courses, country club, spa. My ranch marked as the grand entrance, the land she needed most. And every rendering showed the same thing. Her project only worked if she controlled Meadowbrook Lane, the single road leading in and out of our subdivision. Without it, she had nothing. That was the weakness. Florence Meadows, 83 years old, still owned the road through her family trust. Over sweet tea in her lavender-scented parlor, she confessed Vivian had tried to buy it 6 months earlier. She refused. The woman reminded me of Grandpa Joe, hard as creek stone, sharp as barbed wire. When I laid out the evidence of Vivian's scam, Florence's hands shook with fury. "My father built this neighborhood for working families," she said, "not for people like her." Then she named her price, $148,000. It was nearly everything we had, savings from selling my grandfather's antique tractors, Sarah's inheritance, money we'd earmarked for our child's future. But sometimes you have to risk everything to save everything. Sarah stood beside me as I signed the papers, her hand trembling in mine. "Are we really doing this?" she asked. "We're really doing this," I said. By dawn the next Monday, Tommy Morgan's construction crew was out there with equipment, closing the road for repairs. Emergency safety measures, perfectly legal. When Vivian's white Mercedes screeched to a halt at the barricade, I handed her the deed myself. "It's my road now, ma'am." Her face drained of color. She screamed, she threatened, she called me a redneck terrorist in front of half the neighborhood, and every word was caught on video. The more she flailed, the more people turned against her. Old Pete Wilson painted his mailbox yellow in solidarity. The Martinez family slapped purple shutters on their house. One by one, neighbors who'd been silent found courage. Our little street looked like a rainbow by week's end, a rebellion in bright colors. Vivian countered with a smear campaign. Flyers plastered across mailboxes accused me of being a dangerous veteran with explosives training, unstable and violent. Federal agents even knocked on my door to check in. But she didn't understand. People around here know me. They remember me pulling kids out of frozen rivers, rebuilding barns after tornadoes, working 16-hour days for free when neighbors needed help. Her lies collapsed faster than her composure. Marcus tried bribing me, $300,000 in cash, then $400. I turned him down flat. That's when the threats started, whispered warnings about Houston investors who wouldn't take kindly to losing millions. Men in suits asking questions about my family, about my schedule. Sarah begged me to give in. I held her close and told her what Grandpa Joe always said. Sometimes doing right means standing firm when everyone else runs. The showdown came October 12th at the community center. The place overflowed with reporters, cameras, neighbors jammed shoulder to shoulder. Vivian strutted in with a team of Dallas lawyers and a PowerPoint painting me as a terrorist, holding the neighborhood hostage. Then she called Jake as her star witness. I'll never forget the look on his face as he lied under oath, claiming I'd threatened violence, bragged about making people pay. My stomach turned. But Buck, my attorney, stayed calm. He stood, pressed play on a recording of Marcus offering me cash, talking about serious people from Houston, investors who'd destroy them if the project failed. Then another recording, Vivian and Marcus in their car, coaching Jake on his testimony, panicking about a $2.3 million loan coming due. The room went dead silent. Jake broke down sobbing, confessing the bribe, the promises made for his son. And then Vivian cracked. She erupted, screaming at Jake, at me, at everyone. Her voice turned venomous, spitting confessions about buying families out, using shell companies, coordinating with county officials, even crowing about smashing my fence. The mask dropped, and the monster underneath showed itself in front of 400 people and 3 news crews. Sheriff Martinez stepped forward and cuffed her right there. You're under arrest for destruction of property, conspiracy, and terroristic threats. The crowd roared. Sarah clutched my hand, tears running down her cheeks. For the first time in months, I felt something close to peace. 6 months later, Meadowbrook looked nothing like the battleground it had been. Vivian was behind bars. Marcus faced fraud charges. Their dream development land was sold to a conservation group, turned into a wildlife preserve, and Meadowbrook Lane. I gave it back to the community, placed in a trust so no one person could ever hold us hostage again. Neighbors painted their homes and fences in colors that would have made Vivian faint. Every spring, we celebrate Fence Day, kids laughing as they dip brushes into paint, barbecue smoke curling into the Texas sky. Sarah and I watch our daughter Emma toddle past those turquoise posts that started it all, chasing butterflies. I think about that night often, the sound of splintering wood at 3 a.m. It nearly broke us. But sometimes the thing meant to destroy you becomes the fire that forges something stronger. My fence is still standing, brighter than ever. And so are we.